To run a Linux server, all you need is a physical machine on which you install a Linux distribution, an internet connection, and a static IP address that doesn't change so that your server will be easily reachable. Even though you can set up everything up easily from scratch, I'll show you another approach. We'll run a VPS, which is short for Virtual Private Server, at a cloud or hosting provider. Of course, you can set up everything in the same manner on your own machine or even in a VM. But what is a VPS? A VPS is like a dedicated server, so like a physical machine you control. You are given root access and you are able to configure the server the way you like. You are almost in full control, like having your own server, but you don't need to maintain the hardware. I chose DigitalOcean as the hosting provider because in my opinion it offers the best performance per dollar. Even more, when you open a new account, it will be credited for free with some dollars so that you can use their service for 60 days. I have already an account and I'm logged in. The next step is to create the VPS. The DigitalOcean name for the VPS is Droplet, so I'm gonna create a new one under my account. I'm going to Control Panel. I'm clicking on Create and I'm choosing Droplets. DigitalOcean Droplets are Linux-based virtual machines that run on top of virtualized hardware. Each of these created droplets is a new server you can use. You can do it either stand-alone or as part of a larger cloud-based infrastructure. As you can see, the droplet comes with Linux pre-installed, so you can focus on deploying the apps. DigitalOcean offers a wide variety of operating systems like Ubuntu, FreeBSD, Fedora, Debian, or CentOS. I'm choosing Ubuntu. Based on the project size and requirements, the VMs are offered in a mixture of memory and compute resources. And I'll choose the second one, which costs $10 per month. Then you have to choose the data center region. It's recommended to be as close as possible to your clients. So if most of your clients are located in the USA, then choose New York on the East Coast or San Francisco on the West Coast. In my case, being located in Europe, I'm choosing Frankfurt. If you need IPv6 services selected under additional options, and monitoring if you want automated droplet monitoring and alerting. Next, I'll set up the SSH authentication method to the server. There are two ways to authenticate to the server using SSH: public key authentication or password authentication. If you select SSH keys, the password authentication will be disabled and your droplet will be protected against brute force attacks. However, you have to generate the key pair first and paste the public key here on this page. Here. Just to get it started, I'm choosing password authentication for the moment, but in the next lecture, I'll show you how to configure the SSH keys because this is a more secure way of authenticating to the server. I'm using the suggested strong password for the root account. This is a very good one. Save it in the password manager or keep it safe somewhere. I'm deploying a single droplet and I'm leaving the suggested host name. You can change it if you want. Finally, for a small amount of money, you can enable automatic backups. This is highly recommended, especially if you run a production server. And I'm creating the droplet. It will take a few seconds, and after that, we'll have an Ubuntu server running in the DigitalOcean cloud. It's creating it. I'm clicking on its name. There are two ways to connect to the server, using the console, which opens on a web page, or using SSH. This is the console. In both cases, we are authenticating using root. And I mean as root. I've used the password specified when I've created the droplet. However, SSH is the most common way to configure the server. The console will be used only when SSH is not working, like in the case of a network fault. You should know that the console is always available even though the network interfaces are down or a firewall is blocking you. Let's connect to the droplet using SSH. First, let's find its public IP address. This is its public IP address, which is statically configured, so it doesn't change. And I'm connecting to it using an SSH client. You can use the Linux SSH command or PuTTY if you are connecting from Windows. So SSH -P22, the default port, root, and the IP address. And I'm entering the root password. And I'm in. The only thing I'll do for the moment is to fully upgrade the server using apt. So apt update && apt full upgrade -y. It assumes yes to any questions. I'm logged in as root, so it's not necessary to run the commands with sudo. We are taking a short break, and in the next lecture, I'll show you how to secure SSH.